was tracking my calories diligently for a few years. I had every kind of measuring spoon. I had a food scale. I had everything available, and I was so precise to the T. And any little pinch of seasoning or soy sauce or just anything, I would add it to my MyFitnessPal app and I would account for it. And in addition to that, I did not include how many calories I burned from working out.
Yeah.
I did not include that. So it's funny because I had a goal of losing 10 pounds of fat and I reached it, but it took me about 3 solid months to get there. My goal was to do it the healthy way, as it always has been, to lose about a half a pound up to 2 pounds per week. And on average, I was losing about a half a pound to 1 pound per week. And I'll tell you, for being my size, that's really, really, really difficult. And the
Yeah.
only way I made it work was I did not include the calories burned that my Apple Watch or my Garmin told me that I burned from the physical activity that I did, which was CrossFit, which was running, and then other activities. And then I was so precise with the tracking. But even then, I feel like it can still be challenging to make these numbers work.
Yeah. And also what you were trying to do, it's like there's losing weight, right? But you're not trying to lose weight. You're trying to lose body fat, which is like a more of a, it's like a science thing. It's like you're trying to maintain, the muscle that you have while reducing the amount of body fat. That's like a lot of different things in combination. So, like straight, and I think a lot of people, they don't really want to lose weight. They want to do what you did, but that's a more complex issue to tackle because you're addressing diet, you're addressing exercise. Like you might even need to address other things like sleep and amount of stress that you're dealing with. It's
Yes.
complex.
It's super complex, and you touched on so many good points. The sleep and the stress management are huge. I've listened to so many podcasts from sleep experts. I've read books from sleep experts. I'm thinking of Dr. Matthew Walker right now and the research that's been done on sleep in relation to losing weight. And a lot of folks who are sleep deprived, they're getting less than 7 hours of sleep per night. It's very, very challenging for them to lose weight, especially around the midsection. When you don't get enough sleep, stress is not managed completely. The body is not able to rid itself of all the stress hormones, and then cortisol levels remain higher for longer. And this helps to produce adipose tissue, in particular around the midsection. So this is something that I've seen so quite often with folks. And so that's kind of like sleep and stress management together, because the amount of quality sleep, not just sleep, the amount of quality sleep that you're getting per night will affect how good you are at managing your stress throughout the day
Yeah.
and throughout the night when you're not sleeping. People are more irritable when they are sleep deprived. They're more injury prone. And those two things alone, well, there's three actually. Another biggie that I'm thinking of is people make a lot of bad choices with food when they're sleep deprived because their body is kind of in this amped up state. And so it craves the things that it really doesn't need. It craves the sugars, the salts, the fats, all of those things. But if you pay attention to this, if you're one of these people who is a little more sleep deprived and you decide to really focus and prioritize getting more quality sleep, watch some of those cravings start to lessen. and not have such a grip on you. Yeah, I could go on and on. So that's stress, and that's sleep. And there was one other beautiful point that you made, and now I've totally forgotten.
Well, if it was that brilliant, I'm like, would I have remembered it? Because I don't remember. But I think this kind of touches on something that we do, like when it comes to health. Health is compartmentalized. I have too much weight. I've got to either eat less or do more exercise. It's like very like this narrow thing here, where what you're talking about is more of like a holistic view of like a person. And I was thinking about this. It takes a lot to do all that, because depending on my job, I might not be able to get that stress level down. I might not be able to get the more sleep. I might not have the time to, there's like all these different things that need to work to like kind of have the optimum amount of health. So it presents like a challenging, I think, societal issue, because I don't have the current numbers, but obesity rates, are not declining. And when you look at just larger societal factors, like how people are doing economically, it's like, it's not great. And I think that's all tied into it.
100%. And I remembered that point that you made earlier. So you were talking about how it can be very challenging to lose weight, but it's not that people want to lose weight. It's they want to lose body fat.
Yeah.
And that is an art. It's a science and it's an art. And when I was going through that, I will tell you that I had not mastered it. It took so long and it took so much work to fine tune and figure out what was right for me. And I will share that during a few years of trying out this process of calculating my daily calories and being adamant about working out several days a week and working out very hard, I definitely overtrained multiple times. And in order to meet the number on the scale that I wanted to meet, I had to sacrifice some muscle, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. I didn't realize it until way later on when I noticed I was trying to do lifts and I just could not lift more. I didn't feel like I was getting stronger. I was losing fat, yes, but I was also losing some muscle. And that is extremely frustrating, because I think the healthy way of thinking about it is, yes, I want to lose body fat, but I also want to gain muscle.
Yep.
I want to gain muscle. And it took a lot. It took so much in order for me to get to that point. And I had to really put my body to the test multiple times.
I think,
And I'm just trying to think of what did you just last share on? Because, oh man, my brain was just, I remember. So you said, I have more of a holistic approach when it comes to being healthy. I'm not just compartmentalizing the way that a lot of people do. But I want to let you know that I have compartmentalized. Before I got committed to working out consistently, I would also eat an In-N-Out burger multiple times a day. And I did this for a month. I don't know if you remember this. This was back in the day. God, I think it was just over 10 years ago. I want to say 11, 12 years ago. I was living right next to an In-N-Out burger. I was doing Pilates on the reformer, and I was doing it 4 to 5 days a week, and I was getting so strong. And then I was like, well, In-N-Out is just so easy. It's right there. I'll just go. It's cheap. And they say that it's fresh, like it's fresh cut potatoes. So that must be healthier.
and think of all that protein you're getting.
Oh my God. And it's like, I know better. I know better. I've taken nutrition classes. I know better, but still there's something in my mind that wanted to just cheat the system and think that I could do it. I was going to be the first. It's like, what is going on? How could I even think that way? But what ended up happening was, yeah, I did get stronger, but I also got fatter. And I was like looking at pictures of myself and I was like, I was blowing up. I was blowing up in a way that I didn't want to. And so that's when something clicked in my head and said, oh, okay, keep the working out, but you have to accompany it with really good nutrition. The fuel matters. It's not one or the other. We have to have more of a holistic approach. And what this requires is a lifestyle change. And I literally just had a conversation with a phlebotomist who visited my house this morning. I do quarterly blood draws. And I could tell he was a very, very small man. He just, honestly, he didn't look like he was in very, very good health. He was kind of hunched over, and I looked at his face and he had a young face, but he looked like just his bones looked weak. And he asked me what I did for a living. And I told him I was a personal trainer. And he said, yeah, I need to put on some more muscle. And I said, yeah, well, okay, go for it. And he said, yeah, I don't think I really want to that much because I'm not willing to get started. And I said, boom, that's where it's at. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. Are you willing to do the work? Because a lot of us aren't. A lot of us talk, but talk is cheap. Okay? It's about action. And I do sympathize with you, Charles, about sometimes we have situations in our life, we have lifestyles where we have demanding jobs. It doesn't seem like we can fit in time to work out and take care of our bodies and minds better. I'm thinking also of families, people with little kids, and then their sleep gets compromised, all sorts of stuff, right? And you were previously at a job that I don't even know how many hours you worked, but I knew that you
62
were
to
working,
70 per
God,
week.
which is so much. And
Yeah.
you were quite heavy during that time. I remember, because I've known you for so long. I've known you for, God, I think 18 years now.
Yeah.
And I've watched your weight fluctuate quite a bit since I've known you. And the last 5 years you were at that job, I watched you progressively get bigger and bigger and bigger. And there were a couple things that came out of your mouth. Number one, there wasn't a lot of time. There wasn't a lot of just time for you to do what you wanted to do. And I can only imagine what it must feel like to work that many hours. And then afterwards, somebody, in your head, oh, I should be working out. But it's like by the end of the day, you're probably pooped. You're probably exhausted. And all you want to do is just decompress. Maybe veg out, maybe watch a show, maybe play a video game, do whatever makes you feel happy and chill. But then at the same time, when I hear somebody say they don't have enough time, I think a little bit of a cop out. So I've got a couple different emotions coming up when I hear these statements, because it's like the people who really want it, who want that change, they have to make the time. That means they have to wake up a lot earlier than they would like to. I don't know. What's coming up for you when I say some stuff like that?
I actually signed up for a gym for a couple months, when I was working at this job. And for about 1 month, I was, waking up at 5:30 to do a 6 a.m. class so that I could be back home by 7:30, shower, breakfast, and then, get ready for a 9 a.m. start. It's definitely possible. I will say that, not working 62 to 70 hours a week, it's way easier. So it's like there's no easy solution. Like if you want to prioritize your health, you have to prioritize your health, regardless of what it takes. Because like, could I have continued doing the 6 a.m.? Probably. Like I didn't have the discipline.
Yeah.
And did I use the job as an excuse? Yeah. Was it also, everything you said is like tiring and, felt exhausted at the end of the day? Absolutely. So it's like you got to manage your priorities. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing how much in bad health I was. Let me tell you, it's like I've, I'm 42, and one of the new things that's come with being in my 40s is lower back tightness. It's the most like random thing. But you just like imagine being in an office job, sitting on your desk for hours and hours and hours on end without, physical activity. It's like, oh, like low back tightness. And I didn't realize how much that had affected me until like I don't suffer that anymore. Like I work out hard, not even that much. It's like 2 to 3 times a week. And then like just physical activity like 5 times a week. But really hard only 2 to 3 times. Sometimes not even three. But just doing the strenuous activity that many times, and doing, like weightlifting and, all those other good things that you should do, my low back tightness is gone. And with that, it's like more mobility, more, like I can get up out of bed, like I do a sit up, no hands to get up out of bed rather than like gotta use my arms or twist in a weird way to roll out of bed. No, it's like I actually have the mobility now to like do basic human functions.
To me, that is a huge, huge win because low back pain is so prevalent in our society. And I think you also have been strengthening your core.
Yeah,
You've been sitting less, you've been more active, and the things that your low back and mid back want. This is something I was just sharing with a client yesterday. Your back wants you to move. It wants you to move. Keep the muscles loose. Go on walks outside. Take your meetings, your phone call meetings while you're on a walk, you know? And because you're not sitting at a desk for hours at a time, all day, every day, your back is thanking you. And because you are focused on weightlifting and great technique, excellent form, you're strengthening your core, and your back is thanking you because your back is also part of your core. That low mid back, that's part of your core. And it probably was weaker when you were sitting all day.
it was
And
so
it
weak.
was it
Let me
was
tell you,
weak. Yeah.
when I was working that job, I could not do a straight sit up. Like even like doing the kind of sit up where you're using a lot of momentum to propel yourself forward, I could not honestly say that I could do one when I was, in that physical state.
Wow.
And you don't think of it as like, oh, like where am I doing a sit up in real life? All the time. Going from lying down to like getting up to standing, it requires like a certain kind of strength. And you take it for granted like while you're younger and able to like move around. But like I'm no spring chicken, and like now that I can feel things like when they're tight or like sore, it makes a difference being able to like lift something without throwing my back out, being able to have like real like mobility and like all my joints. So like let's say I trip and fall, like I can catch myself. It's just like all these little things that end up with a higher quality of life that aren't easily measured because how many people are like keeping track of, oh man, like I lost balance and I fell down. It's like people don't track stuff like that until they're like 60 and they break a hip.
Yes. And the older you are, and when you break something like that, the longer and harder it is to recover from it. And also, when you're breaking a hip, for example, some of these injuries could cost you your life because folks don't recover sometimes. And if they are lucky enough to recover, it can take such a long time, which just can affect your whole mental state.
Yeah.
Injuries suck for a lot of different reasons. And you know, you and I are both in our 40s. We're in our early 40s, and we have to start paying attention to this stuff now. And I hope that we reach people in their 30s and 20s and set them up for success, because you're never too young to start thinking about this stuff now. Set yourself up for success long term, because you don't want to be that person who is bedridden or
Mm.
wheelchair ridden, and the quality of your life has been sacrificed because of ill choices that you made when you were younger. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's really up to you. But for me, I want to be, when I do watch some fun stuff on Instagram, it's mostly old people running races and like beating people that are half their age. I get so excited about that. I think it's so cool. I love older folks who can kick ass and who are fast and who are
Yeah,
strong. It's like the childlike joy inside of them has never left. And to me, that is
yeah.
ultimately winning.
And to your point, it's never too late to start. I'm always inspired by the story of Ernestine Shepherd. Everyone should Google her. She's in her 80s. She's a bodybuilder, but she only started when she was in her 50s because she has a sister that had like some kind of health scare, so they decided to get fit at the same time. Like you can start at whatever age, and like you look at her pictures, like looks
Yes.
great.
I think I've actually seen that one you're referring to. I
Yeah,
I love it, and I appreciate you pointing that out, because if you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, go for it. Start right now. Start today. Start right now. Go on a walk outside. Watch a video on proper weightlifting and start lifting something up, even if it's a pound, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever it is. Just get started now. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till January 1st. Start today. And keep it small. Nobody said you have to go from 0 to 100. I think that's where people get hung up, is they feel like they need to just excel at a certain rate. And the truth is, you've just got to get started, no matter how seemingly small that effort is. These types of good habits will compound over time, and you will see results if you are patient and if you are consistent. Time's going to go on, whether you like it or not. So you might as well just get started, because before you know it, you'll be fitter, you'll be stronger, you'll be lighter, you'll be faster, and ultimately, you'll be happier. And so, with that said, I want to close out with a question for you.
yeah.
Learning everything that you've learned recently with this big job change, and possibly taking on more work and getting back up to those demanding hours again, how are you going to approach your health differently next time, so that you set yourself up for success and still meet the demands of your job?
Well, I think what I was saying earlier about like discipline, it is literally about like setting life up so that I might have work, I might have more work, but I'm not sacrificing in one area to produce something somewhere else. Because that, like, I've been on the other side of that, and that path leads to body aches and bad sleep, and higher overall stress and higher weight and all those things. It's a matter of, oh, I actually can't skip. Like I was thinking about it. Like I got really like that wiped me out, the food poisoning that I got, and I couldn't go to the gym yesterday. I still went on my walk. So like, well, I've got to like do something for my body, even if it's not going to be lifting weights, because it's probably not a good idea. Like after dealing with all that, but it's there was something about getting started is hard, and how like people make a New Year's resolution and will go like
Mm-hmm.
hardcore for like a week or two. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is the wrong approach too. It's kind of like We're talking about addictions earlier. That's all. It's kind of like trying to trade one addiction for another. It's like going all in. I made a small change. I went rock climbing once a week, every day for like 6 months. At 6 months, I added in 2 more days of like fitness to like condition myself. So it wasn't a big change at once. It was a small change over time that I, regularly adhered to that made the difference.
I think that's so smart. And I hope people are listening to that because I definitely appreciate the people, the weekend warriors, if you will, because I'm guilty. I've definitely done that before. You get really excited, you get amped up, you've got a goal, you go hard, but then life gets in the way, and then you fall off. You fall off the wagon, or you fall off. And I love your approach. I love that you just started off with rock climbing once a week, and you just did it because it was enjoyable. It was something you wanted to do. You didn't have to force yourself.
Nope.
And that's also key, is you need to figure out what's right for you, because not everybody's a runner. Not everybody wants to rock climb. Not everybody wants to do a martial art. Not everybody wants to lift weights. Some people would prefer to do a spin class. Others would. I've got a girlfriend who is obsessed with jazzercise. You got to find what's right for you. Maybe it's just going on a long walk and getting those steps in, getting that vitamin D from the sun. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just got to be something that you look forward to, and that that you will do. Because on the days when you're not looking forward to doing even that, or anything for that matter, you've got to know that there's something inside of you that will help you to get it done anyways. You'll do it anyways. Just the same way yesterday when you didn't go to the gym, your body told you needed a break from the gym, but that you needed to do something. There was a voice, there was something inside of you that said, you got to do something. And that was, get your butt outside and walk. And you did just that. To me, this is a huge win. And what I'm hearing is, as you increase your hours in work, if this happens and you get to that point where you're working 65, 70 hours a week, have you ingrained it into your muscles, into the fiber of your being, into your lifestyle, where health is now always going to be a priority? So in case you can't see, and I don't know if you're talking right now, but he's definitely nodding his head.
Yeah, it's my internet connection froze for a second. I didn't catch the
Oh,
end of that,
okay.
but I think I got the gist of what you were saying. Yeah, I like the word ingraining because it's a matter of doing the same activities, over time, regardless of like what you feel. There's the days I don't want to go to the gym. Like I still go unless there's something obviously like physically wrong with me.
Yeah. Same. People think just because I'm a personal trainer and I've done fitness modeling and I go to the gym and I love being active, they think, oh, how many times are you going to the gym? 5, 6, 7 times? And how hard are you working? And it must be easy for you. And for me, it's like, actually, no. Actually, no. I don't really go to the traditional gym all that much anymore. I'm just very intentional with how I move throughout the day. And I'm mindful, like after this podcast, I'm going to get my butt back up and I'm going to be active. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to maybe do a pull-up here and there because I have a pull-up bar that I have easy access to. Maybe I'll do some push-ups, maybe not, but I will get up and I will walk around and I will move. And when I lift something up, my core is engaged, my glutes are on, my form is great. And, just before this podcast, I walked for an hour outside. I had the luxury of being able to do that. So I took advantage of it. I got my dose of vitamin D. It makes me feel good. And I also did it right after I ate. So that helps with the meal that I was digesting. That'll help keep my glucose from spiking because I did have some rice. Full disclosure.
Hey, I love
But
rice.
anyways, did you have any last comments? Or I mean, this was so impromptu. If you
Yeah.
don't know Charles Thi, he is my best friend. He is my brother from another mother. And we've been through it all. And he has seen me go through my entire health journey. I've seen him go through his. And yeah, thanks, Charles, for I gave you 2 minutes notice and you said yes. Well, I don't know if I don't
It
even know if
wasn't
you
even
said
two
yes. I
minutes.
said I'm gonna call. I didn't
You said I'm
even
gonna
know if I
send you the
asked for your
link.
permission. I
I'm
just
like,
said I'm
oh,
gonna
we're doing
record this. We're doing this.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.